Hello, everyone. This is Chris. Welcome to Bin Chicken's Vinyl Fair podcast, Season 2, Electric Boogaloo. I am pleased to have Josh from JDZ Records joining me. Josh, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. It's a Friday. I worked from home today, so not a lot of work got done. So it's a pretty good day. Can't complain.
Well, that's good. That's good.
So, JDZ Records, why don't you start by just telling people a little bit about it or how they can find you or purchase records or anything you want to say really about your brand here.
Okay, so JDZ Records is actually just my initials, Joshua David Zilvinsky. So I started this back in like sophomore year of high school. I was at a garage sale and this guy had a bunch of 45s, so I bought them for like $40. And I just started selling them at school, online. There's a few kind of rare ones in there. I sell on Discogs under JDZ Records. That's how I started making some money with record selling. But I'd always been interested in records since like fifth grade. My brother had bought a Beatles compilation. I'm like, hey, that's pretty cool. So I decided to, kind of copy him. So I bought some other records, and that's how I started getting into records. But with selling, I just kind of started just went in high school because I was able to, and it was a good way to make extra money.
Sweet, sweet. So how long has that been then? Since I don't know how old you are. So sophomore year in high school, what year was that?
So that would be what because I'm 20 now.
Oh, okay.
So was that like 16 roughly?
Okay.
Something like that. Yeah, 15 or 16 I started buying and selling records. It's I love doing it. It's fun. I love music, and I love finding new records I've never seen before, discovering new music. It's really fun.
So how do you go about finding records? Do you go digging at places or shops or online? Do you have a different methods that you use?
So I rarely buy used vinyl online. The only time I buy used vinyl online is usually for pre-order or something. But usually I'll go to a record store, like for my own personal collection. Garage sales, estate sales. Sometimes that works. Goodwill rarely, but that's that. But if I'm lucky, you never know, I might find it at Goodwill or thrift store. But usually a record store for my personal collection. But for like the JDZ records, that's more garage sales and just contacts, people I can find, who are getting rid of their stuff, and they'll sell it to me or whatever.
Cool, cool. How many do you know how many records you have in your personal collection?
In my personal collection, I think I have. I know I have like them all on Discogs. I think it's like in like 2 seconds I can figure that out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's uh 1,205 records. That's 45s, LPs, 10 inches, 3 inches, and one 9-inch and one 5-inch.
Wow. First of all, that's a pretty nice number as far as the overall collection. Uh, I did not know that there was 9-inch and 5-inch records.
Yeah, the 5-inch records are pretty uncommon because you can't fit too much music on it. The 5-inch I have is Man or Astro Man. They are a surf garage rock band, very kind of spacey too. Really, really good. Oh man, it's a good one. And then the 9-inch is this band called Andrew Jackson Jihad, or AJJ now. They did a split with O Pioneers and pressed the record on a 9-inch record.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really cool. I think it's like on greenish vinyl too. It's really neat.
Do you like colored vinyl?
Oh yeah, I love colored vinyl. It's just cool to see what the bands and the labels can come up with to mix the colors and different designs. It's super fun. I'd say a lot of my new vinyl I know is colored because I like to get because I'm a collector. I like to collect the stuff that's not printed as much. So
Sure.
I also listen to my records too, but like most of my new records are colored, but a lot of the old vinyl, which was mostly just pressed on black, is just on black.
Yeah. How many 3-inch records do you have? So you did get in on that 3-inch record player that was released, I believe, this past record store day in April.
Yes, I did. I did get one of those. I love novelty, weird, just crazy weird stuff in records. I just think it's cool. So I think I have. Let me see. I have 6. The Bad Religion one, My Sanity, Beastie Boys Sabotage, Culture Abuse Dip, Foo Fighters Big Me, which came with the 3-inch player, She's Kerosene by The Interrupters, and Ruby Soho by Rancid.
Nice.
Yeah.
That Sabotage by Beastie Boys was actually the #1 selling record on all of Discogs for the month of July.
Are you
The
serious?
3-inch.
That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah, I was a little surprised. But it is cool to have a little tape thing. So actually, that's a great song. So people wanted to have that on 3-inch
Oh,
too.
and I know they're coming out with more 3-inches. The Sun Records ones with like Carl Perkins, Johnny Cash, Roy Orbison, and Jerry Lee Lewis. They're coming out with some 3-inches in sometime in October.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they had some
Uh,
Hopeless Records ones, which I didn't jump on, and also Jack White and Insane Clown Posse ones. But I haven't gotten any of those.
do you know, is there a limit to the amount of, as far as like time limit, is there a time limit on the amount of music that they can fit onto those?
I'm not exactly sure. I know they spin at 33 and a third RPM, which is pretty cool, but I don't know what the time limit is. I'm sure it's probably like 3.5, 4 minutes max they can put on there. It can't be too
Yeah.
much time because that's a lot. Because that'd be some really small grooves in a
Yeah.
small area, and it would just make the sound quality be even worse if they try to fit a lot of music in a small space.
Yeah, and that's I'm glad you brought that up because that's actually something that I learned pretty recently, that like on a standard size 12-inch record, the closer to that the grooves get, the sound quality actually decreases because
Yep.
of the
Yeah.
size of the grooves are so small. The sound quality actually doesn't sound as good as the tracks that are like towards the outside of.
Yeah. That's true.
So I bought Chemical Brothers had released an album this past April, so I bought that when it came out, and then I bought deluxe edition of it where they actually pressed it out. The original one was pressed on 2 LPs. It was 10 tracks across 2 LPs, and then the deluxe was 10 tracks across 3 LPs.
Oh wow.
So yeah, so like once I learned and that was about when I learned about the difference in the groove sizes, because one of my favorite tracks on the regular edition is like the last track on the one side, so it's on the smaller grooves. But on the deluxe edition, it's in the bigger grooves because there's only like one track on each side. So I'm excited to I haven't listened to them side by side yet, like the original pressing and then the deluxe edition, is to actually hear the difference in the sound quality. I mean, I'm hoping I can hear it. Otherwise, I
Yeah.
wouldn't know.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like there'd be some little bit you can hear. I mean, it'd be pretty. I feel like it'd be like very subtle, like at that point, but like you'd probably tell a difference, like slight difference.
Yeah. What is the coolest record, or the best, I guess I should say best find, or the find, because you said you go digging, for your personal collection? What was like the coolest record that you found whilst digging?
Ah, man, that's a tough one. Um,
Or even just a couple that you were just like, you found it and you were like stoked. You're like, yeah, fuck yeah.
oh, well, actually, I found one literally, was it yesterday? I was at Goodwill, coming home from the little road trip me and my dad were on, and we stopped at Goodwill and we found the Velvet Underground's white, not white, Who Loves the Sun, promo 45, and it's at
Oh,
Goodwill, so they're $1. These and any Velvet Underground 45 or anything Velvet Underground original pressing is expensive. like super rare because they didn't press much of it. It was no one listened to them, not no one, but like few people listened to them.
Yeah, that's
So
pretty cool.
yeah, well, this 45 is worth about, in the condition I have, about $70.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I was pretty stoked to find that. Let's see, another one that I probably found was also at Goodwill, Fears the Record, which is a seminal punk album, very famous. Fear is most well known for being on SNL. Well, not the most famous thing, but like one of the more famous things is they're on SNL one time, um, because one of the cast members wanted to be on there, and they brought their own slam dancers and moshers, and they like destroyed the SNL studios. So I have their album Fear the Record, first pressing. Found that at Goodwill. They had a price on it of like $20 because they knew it
Yeah.
was worth something, but that's super rare too.
Wow.
Um,
When
I
was it that they were on SNL that they destroyed the studio?
Oh, this is back in the '80s. I think
Oh,
I think it was John Belushi who told him to come on because he was a huge punk.
oh,
Giant
okay.
Jim, one of the Belushis.
Yeah.
Um, and one other one would be probably either Dick Dale's and Deltone's Miserlou 45, which I found on a estate sale for like a quarter, or Love Forever Changes, which is an amazing psych folk and psych record. I found that for $10, and it's a pretty expensive and rare album. That one goes for like in really 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 nice shape, like 50 or more dollars, like decent shape, like in the 30s. But like, yeah, that one's super hard to
Yeah.
find, and mine is in immaculate condition.
Pretty cool. Pretty
Oh
cool.
yeah.
That that Miserlou record, I know that only because it was made famous, at least to basic bitches like myself. Julie calls me a basic bitch. Um, very commercial and radio friendly. Um, that was made famous to me in the movie Pulp Fiction, correct?
Yep, yeah, that's is known as the surf song in Pulp Fiction. Is a great movie as well. But yeah, they made the song famous. I mean, it was already a big song. It was a big song back in the '60s when they first released it, but it got a big resurgence with surf and others and garage rock when Quentin Tarantino used it in Pulp Fiction.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool that you found that out in the wild, as I like to say.
Yeah, that was a crazy good find. I was like, whoa! I like you never see that 45 either. It's hard to come by.
Um, have you ever seen the movie High Fidelity?
No, I haven't. I've been dying to see it for so long, but I just never gotten around to it.
Oh man, Josh, Julie's gonna have a heart attack when she hears that. It's one of her and my favorite movies. It's such a good movie, and it's set in Chicago, and it's all about record collecting and top five lists. And there's a I don't want to spoil it for you, but there is if you do if and when you do watch it, you should try to watch if you can get it on DVD or Blu-ray or whatever that has extra features, because there's a deleted scene that I really wish they hadn't have cut from the actual final movie cut. But there's a deleted scene where John Cusack goes because he gets a call from a private seller of 45s, and it's the private seller is played by Beverly D'Angelo, and he goes to her place, and I'm not going to spoil why she's selling these 45s, but he's digging through like this little chest of 45s, and it's all super rare shit that he's thumbing through, and literally everyone he's like, how do you have oh my god, look at this one by
Yeah,
Sex Pistols. Like it's a pretty cool scene for diggers and record collectors, so you should
yeah.
definitely check that out.
I definitely will. I've been meaning to see it for a while. I know they showed in Chicago a couple weeks back out in like Logan Square or something, but there's one of those big outdoor theaters, but I missed it.
Yeah, they Julie and I actually went and saw it with some friends over at they were showing it outside Wrigley Field at that there's like a video screen at a little park next to Wrigley at Gallagher
Yeah,
Way.
that's
So
what it
they're
was. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I was gonna go with that, but then I just got busy and stuff came up.
Yeah, no, I don't know how it goes. Uh, so you said you bought you started this by buying a bunch of 45s at a garage sale.
Yeah, this is yeah, like I said, back in sophomore year. Like,
How many did you buy? Like was it like 20 of these, or like, and was there anything cool in there that you remember, like, or if you remember the first one that was in there?
um, let's see. There was a couple hundred 45s because the guy was just trying to get rid of them. He didn't want to deal with them. So there's a couple. It was like probably like 245s or so.
Oh
Um,
wow.
yeah, I mean, so I don't know if I still have. I know I made a spreadsheet of every 45 I put in there, of every 45, because I want to know how much they were worth and make sure I
Yeah.
remember. So I think I have an Excel document of like everyone, but like I know one of them I had. His name was Ginny Satin. I think it was like some like Northern Soul record, you know.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that one's worth. I think I sold that one for like $80 question mark 850 or so. I don't know. It was a decent amount of money.
Wow, yeah, that's a pretty nice come up there. If you dropped $40 on the whole lot of like 200.
Yeah, and I know I probably still have some left from that. I don't know where. Probably just in like my
Yeah.
just somewhere in my records. But I know I have. I don't even know. I don't know if I still have the spreadsheet, but it was like there was some cool. I know it has some Stones. There's some Beatles. There's like some pretty common stuff, but there's some oddball stuff in there. I know there's a couple other. There's one called Tiny Topsy. That was another one that was like a Northern Soul record. I don't remember if I still have that one or not. I'm trying to think because there's just so many. It was just kind of overwhelming for like a first time buyer
Yeah.
of like for like of a collection. I was like, whoa, I don't know what to do with all these.
So when you bought that lot, were you thinking like I'm gonna flip these, or were you just thinking like, oh wow, cool, I can get 245, $40, yeah, and then like you hadn't really figured out like what you were gonna do with them yet?
Well, initially I was well the guy had said, "Hey, you could probably sell a bunch of these if you don't want any of them." So the guy who was selling them suggested that I do it. And at first I'm like, I don't need to do that. I'll just listen to them while they're really cool. But then I'm like, wait, that's actually a good idea because I can make money. It's a good way to make money. So I did do that. I did start doing that from him recommending selling them, and then at first when he said that, I just kind of brushed off like, oh, I don't need to sell these. I'll listen to them all. But then I realized there's too many, and I won't like all the music.
Yeah. How do you go about now selecting the records that you stock for JDZ Records? Is it just like a hodgepodge and like whatever you find, or do you like seek out certain genres, or do you find certain genres are good to flip, or
Well, there are certain genres that are good to flip, but what I do is when I buy records, I usually it's like at a garage sale. I'll go through what they have, and if they're cheap, I might buy them all. But if they're a little pricier, I'll pick the ones that I know are sellable. But the stuff that to me that sells the best is like psychedelic garage rock, just heavier stuff, and also like blue note jazz and prestige, Savoy labels like that. A lot of the common stuff. I mean, you can get a couple of bucks for, but like the rare stuff, like the obscure and the odd stuff, probably you wouldn't think twice about. It can be worth a lot of money.
yeah.
Like, I have this one record. It's called Federal Duck. It's worth roughly $125. Mine's in pretty well immaculate shape, and I've got $125 on it. Most people are like, this thing's weird. Why would it be worth any money?
Right, right. What kind of music was it? Did you listen to it
Oh,
before you sold it?
it's like I still have it. It's psychedelic rock, but like the really weird like why would people? It's not like your guitar heavy psych. It's your like I don't even know like why was this music even made type psych. It's just like they were on drugs and just decided to make music, but like music in
Sure,
quotations.
sure. Somebody hit the record button.
Yeah, it's like I think it was like horns and like probably a sitar and just I mean there's guitars and drums in there, but like it's wacky.
Yeah. Uh, do you have any Holy Grail records that are still out there that you're seeking either probably for your personal collection that if you saw it, it would just, set a new euphoric high for yourself?
Yeah, there's I know one of them is Descendants, the punk band. My logo is the college first press with the lyric sheet because those are like so hard to find. And but I have a second press and I'm proud of it. I paid $65 for it at a record store, which is a good price. But if I found a first press, I would just be so happy because that's like my favorite album or one of my favorite albums.
Well,
That's something I've been on the look for forever. It's just they just don't come up.
how would you tell if now obviously in certain record stores that know what they have, right? They're gonna have that, on the wall or something, labeled first pressing, whatever,
Yeah.
to let you know. But is there a way that you could tell if you were just like digging through a crate of something like at a garage sale, like if somebody didn't know the value of this record, like is there a way that you could tell pretty quickly that it was a first pressing?
I well the lyric sheet, which didn't come with a second press, that if that was in there, that would be a pretty well dead giveaway. Along with there's no barcode on the back, it would be an SST, no, New Alliance Records label. It wouldn't say SST on there, like I don't think anywhere. It would be NAR. I think I forget what the exact catalog number is. Um, it's that it'd be pretty. It wouldn't be difficult, but it wouldn't be easy to tell. It's just you gotta know what you're looking for. You gotta kind of gotta know your stuff.
Yeah, no, it definitely sounds like you definitely know your stuff, at least on this particular record. I'm
Yeah.
impressed.
NAR 012, NAR 12, New Alliance Records. Because after the first couple of pressings of all Descendants albums, they switched them over to SST, which is actually the label that Greg Ginn of Black Flag started to release the Black Flag material, one of the best hardcore bands out there. So once they released all their stuff on, once their New Alliance kind of like died out, and then they released stuff on SST. So that's why the early stuff is more collectible on the New Alliance Records label.
Interesting. Have you noticed anything? Now you've only been selling for, roughly 5 years, 4 or 5 years. So it may
Mm.
be hard to kind of speak to this because it's kind of a small sample size. But even in the 4 to 5 years that you've been slinging vinyl, have you noticed any changes in the customer base that you sell to? Like, are kids are people buying younger? Like, is it younger people who are buying it? Are people more interested now? Because vinyl is slated this year to outsell CDs for the first time since 1986, and that's pretty exciting.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, there's a lot of younger people who I know, at least a lot of my friends. We all collect vinyl, and records. So and a lot of the people who used to collect records and got rid of their collections are coming back to buy their records again because they realized they loved it and all the memories that came with it. But um, it is making a comeback. Is that is definitely true. It's not as I don't think the like the increase is as um like the amount of people doing it is as exponential as it was. I think it is starting to level out just slightly, but
Okay.
it is still on the rise. It is definitely still on the rise. Many people are into it. I mean, I tell my friends to say, "Hey, collect records. They're fun. You got the big cover. You got usually there's an insert. You get and a lot of times the records are on colored vinyl, which is what people love. Like I've gotten a couple of my friends to collect records, and they absolutely love it.
Very cool. I appreciate you being a vinyl evangelist. We need as many of those as we can get.
Yeah, I mean, I try. I mean, I love the sound and the stuff. It's I don't know. It's just more fun to collect records instead of like a like digital download. Like you get the small cover on your phone, and like that's it. With records, you got these big covers. You get all the information, like where it was recorded at, what the songs are, track time listings, band members, some other information, color, like the record could be colored. I don't know. They're just more fun and it's more more sentimental rather than just like, oh, here's just like some ones and zeros with the music, you know?
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I actually just moved apartments this past weekend, so I'm in the midst of unpacking all my stuff. So a lot of it's still in shambles here, and I hadn't gotten my DJ set up quite right yet because I'm still trying to figure out the layout where everything's going to go based on outlets and cable hookups and all that. But I was listening to my phone Bluetooth connected to my speaker, like pretty much like in the morning into the early afternoon, just listening to Spotify, whatever. And I love Spotify, but like after a while, I was just like, you know what? I took one of my turntables and I put it on a crate, and I took my mixer out of the box and put it on another crate, and just hooked those up, and just had to listen to actual vinyl because the feeling of it, the warmth of it, the tangibility of it, it 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 just explodes from the needle versus like you said, just pressing a button on a phone or a computer to click an audio file. It's definitely worlds apart as far as the experience of listening to music.
Yeah, definitely. I I mean, there's nothing wrong with listening to digital download. That's a person's choice. But like me, I'm also a musician, so getting pressing like pressing a record or my band made cassettes, like making the music and putting on physical format. It feels like you've done something too. Like it really shows that you've created this awesome thing. People can really touch it and feel it and know that you've made this cool sounds and music. It's awesome.
Yeah. So let's segue into that. You're a musician. Is it a punk band? Do you seem to be into punk music?
Yeah, we are. I am in a punk band. We are called Harry and the Houdinis. I'm the drummer. We have a bassist and singer. His name is Chris, and my guitarist Rob, who is phenomenal. My bass is phenomenal too, but like my guitarist Rob, he is very like bluesy, Motorhead and Led Zeppelin, Guns N' Roses influence. Me and Chris, we are more punky Descendants, just more punk influence. But Rob is very bluesy and rocky and metal. I mean, I listen to all that stuff too, but like it just gives a good mix for our band, and we sound very Motorhead esque. So it's like blues, punk, heavy metal awesomeness.
That sounds good. How long have you guys been doing this?
I've been in the band since about January is when I got asked to join. Because they technically started the band in December. They really didn't do anything with it until I joined because they had a different drummer, but then he really couldn't do anything because I don't even know what happened to him. Um, so they asked me to start playing the band in January. We didn't practice till February. We recorded our music in the beginning of August, and we released the cassette, slash album, a couple weeks ago.
Nice. That must have been pretty damn exciting.
Oh yeah, it was super exciting to get this album released. I love it. I mean, it's my music, but I mean, it's just cool to really say I've done something like this. And we play a few shows. We have a show coming up October 26th. Captain Records in St. Charles. We're doing a Misfits cover set. So all of our songs, we're just covering the Misfits. There's gonna be a few other bands there. It's gonna be a super fun
Nice.
time. Yeah,
That sounds awesome.
and
Um,
we'll
so
also have copies of our stuff there to sell.
cool, cool. Now, did you press this onto vinyl too, or just the cassettes?
Vinyl is very expensive to press. It'd be like a couple grand roughly if we wanted to make 12 inches of our album. So we only got cassettes. We got 25 of them for like I think $75. It was a pretty good
Oh,
deal. So we sell them for
nice.
$5 a piece, and we got our friends to do the art for it and like the inside and the outside cover. Oh, it looks so cool. It's great stuff. I wish I could show you.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Are you gonna bring any of those to like when you sell records as JDZ Records? Are you gonna bring any of those cassettes to try to sell or?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I like to help push my band, get us bigger. You never who you might come in contact with. I mean, that's the main thing of being in a band. You gotta find contacts, find shows, find other bands. Just that's how that's how you get big. You gotta find people who are in the industry to really help you grow. I mean, there is DIYing it and doing a lot of it yourself, but finding people to help you out, that's a big step in the game.
Do you guys have any cover songs on this album?
No, we do not. It's all originals.
Cool, cool. Um, do you, as JDZ Records, do you just do this by yourself, or?
Yeah, I pretty well do everything by myself. I like the finding of the records, the pricing, the I mean everything besides the show. Like my girlfriend and sometimes my buddy Paul, they've helped sell at the shows and like load the car, but like I pretty well do everything. My girlfriend Jess has been was at the last Bin Chickens, and she's also been at the past couple of Hillside shows that I sold at. But I pretty well do all the work, like just finding stuff, pricing it, putting in all the data. I mean, I like doing it. It's fun.
Yeah, yeah. So the reason why I kind of asked it that way was because I remember your girlfriend Jess at the first Bin Chicken event and at the Hillside show, one of the Hillside shows that Julie and I went to earlier in the year. So I wanted to bring that up that, she's been with you at the shows, but I didn't know if you guys were still together. So I didn't want to be like, oh yeah, so you and your girlfriend were at Bin Chickens. And then you're like, yeah, we're not together. I didn't want there to be
No,
like that awkward. So
we're still together. We're doing great.
that's awesome. That's awesome to hear. So speaking of Bin Chickens, you were at Bin Chickens one. Did you enjoy the event? Did you do well as far as selling? I know I bought a couple of records off you towards the end of the show. Specifically, I think I got the Edie Brickell record from you, and which is an awesome record. And I also bought a Limp Bizkit single off you, which is awesome.
I do recall that. That was very funny. I didn't know who was ever gonna buy that one because it's Limp Bizkit. Like people like Limp Bizkit, but they don't want to say they like Limp Bizkit.
Right, right. And I will definitely, like I said, harkening back to Julie dubbing me a basic bitch. I grew up, I'm 19 when that album, that single was off of Significant Other dropped in 99. And so I was there for that whole like 2-year height of Limp Bizkit craze, right after their debut album and then into Significant Other. I saw them at Woodstock 99 in New
Are
York.
you serious? That's awesome.
It was oh my God, dude, it was such a good time because when I got to that show, I got there like because it was a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And this was before, like, or at least I feel like this was before 3-day festivals were definitely like a regular thing. There was maybe like a couple a year, like Lollapalooza. I don't even know if it was 3 days in the late 90s. It may have been, but it certainly wasn't like
Lollapalooza was like 2 days back then still.
Yeah, it was. So 3 days was like a big commitment. And I had never been to something that big, but like I showed up there on the Thursday with my girlfriend, and like we drove in a Winnebago with like 10 other people. It was such a crazy trip, a lot of crazy stories. But every guy that I talked to that weekend, it was like, yeah, man, this is so awesome. Hey, who'd you come here to see? Like 98% of the guys who I asked were like either one, two, or all three of Limp Bizkit, Rage Against the Machine, or Metallica, because they were all playing on Saturday night. It was like Limp Bizkit, and then like Rage came on that stage like right after them, and then Metallica like closed out the night on that stage. And like every guy there was like, what a fucking like 4-hour experience this is gonna be.
Holy crap, that's insane. I know when Limp Bizkit played break stuff, they literally like destroyed the place.
Yeah, there was they had a perimeter fence, and like it was like plywood attached to like PVC like piping all around the whole. It was like an old Air Force base that the whole thing was based on. But they had that fence there, and like during break stuff, like a bunch of people ripped off the plywood boards and brought them into the pit, and like people were like literally body surfing because they were standing on top of these plywood boards like being passed around over the pit. It was nuts.
Absolutely wild. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was it was a pretty cool experience. So yeah, so when I saw that single for In Together Now, I was like, I've never even seen a Limp Bizkit single on vinyl, and I've been buying vinyl since 1999, so I just haven't ever seen it out there in the wild. So it's like, oh, I'm definitely picking this up.
Yeah, you don't see their stuff too often on record. I mean, I know they're repressing it, but like that, like when I found, I think I was at a garage sale, I found that for like $1 or whatever. I'm like, this is cool. Limp Bizkit's funny. I mean, might as well pick it up. So I did,
Yeah,
and now
yeah,
it's in the hands of a happy Limp Bizkit owner.
yeah. So I appreciate you picking it up at that garage sale because I'm pretty stoked about it now.
Awesome.
Um, do you have a list of like 5 records that everybody should own, regardless of age, musical interest? Like, what are just, or even if it's not 5, what are just a couple of records that like, just if you had to like, if you could force somebody who was thinking of getting into vinyl, or even if they're already in vinyl, what are a couple of records that you're like, okay, you just have to go get this record if you don't have it and just listen to it and like it?
Yeah, I have to go with Miles Davis, Kind of Blue, because it's an amazing and phenomenal jazz record. I have a copy in my collection. I love it. Um, Probably the Ramones' self-titled debut, because it's again a phenomenal genre-defining record. Just it just blow. It's just so good. Um, let's see. Um, Maybe Rage Against the Machine's self-titled debut. I mean, that one wasn't pressed too much on vinyl, but and now they're repressing it. But
Yeah.
that one definitely is another genre-defining heavy metal, funk metal, rap metal album that's really like in your face. Like we're here to tear this place down. It's you better listen. It's that's another one I think. Um, I'm really trying to think because this is a tough question. This is because you got probably Sticky Fingers by the Rolling Stones because I love that album. It's very good. I love Wild Horses is a great song. Of course, Bitch and Brown Sugar, amazing songs. That's a really good. That's a great blues rock, classic rock album. And let me think. Um. Oh, I mean, this is a tough one. This is
Well,
a
let's
good question.
Well,
Maybe
you've named 4 heavy hitters. I mean, these are like it's just like one monster after another with these 4 that you've named. So good on you for that.
maybe I think if you, this is maybe more in the electronic zone, but New Order's compilation Substance
Hmm.
because that is such. I mean, it has all their hits. It's got Blue Monday. It's got Bizarre Love Triangle. It's a very good dance and very good electronic album. I mean, it's great as a compilation, but I mean, I have a copy of it, and I play it quite often, and I think that might be another one. But I mean, there's so many records that I love that should belong in this, but New Order's Substance is a really good one that I think that could be thrown in there.
Does that have confusion on it? Do you know?
It might. Let me check. Yeah, yes, it does.
Awesome. Then yeah, that's definitely another must-have. I mean, Bizarre Love Triangle's fucking amazing.
I love
Um,
that song. That was like the first. I think that was the first New Order song that I had on a record. I had a 12-inch, got in like a collection or something. Listen, I'm like, hey, this is really good.
hey, what's going on here?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many records you could throw into the like everyone should have, but like, man, I mean, there's also like Black Sabbath self-titled, or just, I mean, you can't go wrong with Black Sabbath. Like the beginnings and the start of heavy metal, and it's that's a good one. I mean, there's just so much good music out there.
Yeah,
Or I mean, I could go on for days about like music, where what it belongs in, like what people should have, or like
yeah.
even like Elton John's "Goodbye Yellow Brick Road," another phenomenal record. That I mean, you got You got Goodbye Yellow Brick Road on that record. You got Benny and the Jets, Candle in the Wind. There's a couple more. Saturday Night's Alright for Fighting is on that album. That's another really good, like, just piano
Yeah.
based rock record.
Yeah, yeah.
There's
Well,
just,
those
I
are
mean, what?
no, that so good job on you pretty much knocked that question out of the park, Josh.
Yeah.
That original Rage self-titled, because they are like my favorite band of all time. So I just wanted to take a second to I did pick up one of those original pressings back in the late 90s.
Oh wow.
And yeah, and about 7 years ago, Tom Morello was appearing at C2E2 here in Chicago at the McCormick Place because he was promoting a comic book that he was writing at the time.
Oh wow.
And yeah, and back then the C2E2 was like just starting out, so it was like signatures for things were like free. Like all you had to do was just like stand in line. As long as you were willing to stand in line, you could, have whoever sign whatever you want. Now it's like, very regimented, like you have to pay money and you only have them sign one thing and whatever. They almost kicked me out of the place this year when or no, that was at Wizard World where I saw Jeff Goldblum, and like if they even see you take your phone out of your pocket, like directing it towards Jeff Goldblum from like 60 feet away, they like security bum rushes you, like because you have to pay for pictures too.
That's
So
insane.
yeah, it's pretty out of control. But back in 2012, when C2E2 was just starting, Tom Morello was there. I brought my original Rage Against the Machine self-titled pressing on vinyl to have him sign it. And I didn't think to tell him like where to sign it. I just assumed he would sign it like on the label. But instead he had like a silver Sharpie and he like signed it on the vinyl itself, like the groove. And I was
That's
like, I'm like, well, I guess it's a good thing I have another copy of this because I did have another copy at that point. But I was like, I can display this now. It'll look cool. But like, I think he should have. Tom Morello, if you're listening to this, you could have asked me, bro.
I think I usually when I get records signed, I usually have them sign the cover.
Yeah.
I mean, usually in like a spot where it like wouldn't like really mess with the artwork or anything. Like usually like in the corners or something. But yeah, I never had. I don't think I've ever encountered a musician who signed the record, like the physical record.
Yeah, like I don't know if it was just like if he was like raging against, my burgeoning hipster fetishism of vinyl at that point.
Like,
If
I
he
mean,
didn't
maybe. I hear he's a pretty cool guy though.
No, and he was pretty cool. He was definitely cool to meet. And politically, I don't want to get into it too much, but I agree with like everything he's pretty much ever said politically. He's awesome, and like it like broke my heart when they broke up in 2000, and then it still broke my heart that they got together but without Zach. I love Chuck D. I like Be Real, but like Prophets of Rage, it's just never going to be the same. I mean, you got to have the original voice because Zach's voice was such an integral part of their whole sound.
100%.
All four of them were like you replace any of those four with somebody else, and it's still going to be good because you still got three awesome musicians performing, but it's the whole was really greater than the sum of those parts when all four of them were together. So.
Oh yeah, I mean I have a copy of Rage Against the Machine's first album, original pressing. I picked it up for $35 at Hillside. I also have the People of the Sun EP, which is also amazing. But like,
I just listened to that today. I was listening to that today, like 3 hours ago.
oh nice.
Yeah.
But like you're right, yeah, Zach is needed for the band to be Rage Against the Machine. Like they said, if for Prophets of Rage, if Zach comes back and decides to sing, is Rage Against the Machine, no questions. But I don't know what his deal is. Like he just doesn't want to. I think it's differing like creative styles or something that's getting them. But I don't know. He just they need to get back together, and he needs to do something because Zach hasn't done anything since like 2016 when you released some single that wasn't even very good.
Oh, was that was that Digging for Windows?
It was Digging for Windows. That was the name of it. Yeah.
See, I liked that song. I mean, it wasn't amazing. It wasn't phenomenal, but like I also listened to that today. I'm a creature of habit. I like to listen to the same stuff over and over. But yeah, I mean his long rumored solo album, he's been teasing that since like 2001, and like
Yeah, he's
he's
never came out with it,
probably
which he needs to do something.
yeah. I mean he's had a couple guest features on some songs, and he was on Run the Jewels, an awesome performance on a couple Run the Jewels songs a couple years ago.
Oh
But
wow.
like I either want a full on solo album, or I want him to get his ass in line, get with the whole fucking band, and just I mean, I feel like they broke up in 2000, it's 2019. I feel like they could have given us like 3 or 4 more classic albums in this time. They
Oh,
robbed us.
easily. I mean, they have Renegades, which is just a covers album. Um, the
Yeah.
Evil Empire, uh, Battle Los Angeles, and they're self-titled. Like, and that was done only. That was, I mean, well, the first album came out in 90 or something like that.
92. It was
92.
92, and then the second one was 96. Then Battle Los Angeles came out in 99, so it's released November 2nd, 99. We're coming up on the 20-year anniversary here in about a month. But yeah, it's not fair. I'm gonna get off my rage soapbox real quick, but because I could definitely. Do you own turntables? So you must own turntables, record players. How many do you have? What kind are they? Do you want to talk about those at all?
So my current turntable is, let me check the name of it real quick.
Besides the 3-inch one, I know you have the 3-inch turntable.
Yeah, I have a 3-inch one. So the current main one I use is it's a Mitsubishi LT70. This thing is really cool because it's like it houses like, so the turntable part of it where it spins pops out, like you press a button and it slides out, and you put the record on the platter and you slide it back into like a little box. I guess it's hard to describe. You have to see it.
Oh wow.
And then on top is a cassette receiver or a cassiever, and of the same company. It's super cool. I got it for $25 at a garage sale, and this thing plays immaculately.
What's the model number of it? It's Mitsubishi what?
LT70.
I want to look this bad boy up. It sounds cool as fuck.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. When I saw it at the garage, I'm like, "What is this thing?" And then I pressed the open button. I'm like, "What? This thing's crazy good." I loved it. I had to buy it.
So do you have any plans to buy any more turntables, or are you just like, I got this, it works awesomely, and I'm just gonna rock this until it kicks the bucket?
I mean, unless I find something better or really cool, I'm keeping this one for a while. I mean, I've also got this portable like RCA turntable from like the 70s. It's cool. It doesn't sound the best, but I mean, it's a neat little thing. Bought that at Goodwill for like $10 or $15.
You're pretty good at finding you're pretty good at finding some good come ups there, Josh. Those are great deals.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I always have a good eye for like records or music related stuff. I try to find cool things for cheap because I don't. Now that I don't want to pay a lot, but I mean, who does? I mean, you want to find the best deal, but like
Right.
good stuff. And I also have this really cool record player. It's called a Rock Block. I mean, the guy who invented it was on Shark Tank a couple of years ago or last year, and he was actually bought out by one of the sharks. Um, but this thing is like one of the vinyl killers from the 70s that Japan made. But this thing doesn't destroy the vinyl. So this thing rides on top of the record like a little car and just drives around the record. It's super cool. And
I've seen something like that. It was like a little bus that like rides around the record.
yeah, that's the vinyl killer from the 70s. Those things are terrible.
So they'll actually destroy the vinyl.
Yeah, well the old ones are bad because they only had the 1C, which is 33 and a third. So when they got close to the center, the old ones the music would get faster because even though the record does spin at 33 and a third, when you get closer, the grooves are closer together, meaning it technically has to spin slower, if that makes any sense, like because
Yeah,
of
no, yeah,
space.
yeah.
So the rock block knows where it's at within a record, and it will spin slower, and it's not as heavy, and it's really cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Um, Touching base real quick on, because I think I kind of derailed the original question with my Limp Bizkit fandom. You were at the original Bin Chickens in June. What did you think of the event? Did you have a good time there? Any thoughts on it?
Oh yeah, it was a fun time. I mean, the, I mean, I mean, there's quite a few people there. I mean, not as many as Hillside, but that has a whole like following. It was
Yeah.
good. I mean, it was definitely a different experience than what I'm used to. I mean, nothing bad. Um, because you never hear because we never have DJs or a band or just it was a weird it was not weird, it was just really different. I didn't It was just kind of unexpected, but like in a good way.
Well, that's good.
Yeah,
That's
I
good.
mean,
Um, are you thinking that JDZ Records will make another appearance at Bin Chickens 2 Electric Boogaloo here in about a month?
oh yes, definitely. With a name like that, I have to be there.
Awesome. Awesome. Julie and I were going back and forth on the name for a little bit. She wasn't sure that it would be successful. So here's your proof right here, Julie. That name alone is bringing vendors through the door.
I
So
love the name. It's funny. It's a great name. Why not? Why not? I mean, what do you guys to lose?
exactly.
Yeah, I
Exactly.
mean, I like the name.
Um, well, that's good. I'm glad you do. I feel a little bit vindicated there. Um, do you have a favorite record store that you go to buy stuff for your personal collection?
Um,
Because I don't know where you're based. Are you in the suburbs? Are you in the city? Or
I'm in Bolingbrook, Illinois, so that's about
I used to live
40
in I used
minutes
to live in
roughly from the
Bolingbrook.
city. What?
I used to live in Bolingbrook.
Oh wow, wow, that's awesome. Uh,
Ah,
let's see. My favorite store. I mean, I that's a tough one because I mean I go to a bunch of different ones. I mean, I go to Mile Long in Wheaton. I go to Purple Dog sometimes. There's in Naperville. There's Audiophiles out in Joliet, which is a great store. Recommend checking them out. I'll go to Kiss the Sky out in Batavia. I'll go to plenty of the stores out in Chicago. Reckless Sugar, um, Bucket of Blood, which is a great one. Bric a Brac,
yeah,
which is
Bucket of
another
Blood's
cool one.
cool.
There's just so many I go to. I don't know if I can pick one that I like the most. And also Rediscover out in Elgin. That's a great store as well.
Well, I don't think I've heard of that one.
That's a good store. They got the people there are nice. They got a great selection. It's and the prices are great too. Highly recommend checking out Rediscover.
Cool.
There's one out in, it's far away because I go to Missouri sometimes because I have family down there. It's called the Gold Pan. It's out in Hillsboro, Illinois. It's like 20 minutes off the beaten path, way down south. Um, like in Illinois, it's down 55, quite like 3 hours, but like I'll stop there when I'm going to Missouri. Um, they are a great store. They have a great selection of new, used, and the prices are phenomenal. Like, it's like highway robbery. The prices on this stuff is just really good. And their selection, I found some amazing stuff there. Descendants EP, which was the fat bonus fat EP, which is super cool. I didn't expect to find that. Blue Cheer for like $10 or less, something like that. Their first album, Erupt. I forget the name of the album. Um, and I also found this one album was called Morticia, but the album was called DOA. I thought it was the punk band DOA. I was wrong. Um, but the music on it was exceptionally good. It was like death rock, goth rock stuff, like very I don't know, it's like, and also glam influenced. So it was like this dark, creepy music, but also very fun and almost like the sweet like ballroom blitz influenced. It was really cool, and I paid $10 for it. It was really cool, and it was like a small label too. Like this band only released their stuff on record because that's when that's what was available to press.
Yeah. Very, very cool.
Yeah, I mean
Uh,
that's a really good store.
do you have any thoughts on Record Store Day? Do you like Record Store Day? Do you get excited about it? Do you get geeked about it? Do you not care about it?
I love Record Store Day. I mean, it's fun. I mean, as long as a lot of it depends on the store that does it. If they have a good way of handling it, that improves the experience. Like if the list is good, which it usually is, that helps. I mean, I like it getting excited for it because it's cool stuff. You never know. Like you don't know what they're gonna press. Like on vinyl, like I found this awesome record. It's called Soccer Mommy for Younger Hearts. She's this lo-fi bedroom pop, dream pop artist, and it was her first album on a label. Initially released, it was on like 100 cassettes back when it was like in 2012 or whatever, or maybe not that old, maybe like 2016, 14, something. And they pressed that album on record for the first time, and I was super stoked. So I got a copy of that. That was really cool. That like when you see stuff you didn't expect, that's what makes it fun. And when the record store knows how to handle it, like not just let one person buy every exclusive in the store, like that makes it better. So everyone gets a shot at getting something. It just, I mean, there's many ways to do record store day, but I mean, as long as it's like orderly and cool and everyone's having a good time, that's what makes it fun.
Wait, so you don't look at the lists beforehand?
Oh, I do look at the list. I study the list. I make my own list of what I want, so I know exactly what I can get and find a store that might have it. Like you know, you want it like you pick stores or a store that you know like that I usually go to the same store every year. It's called Green
Yeah.
Tangerine out in DeKalb, which is another great record store. Um, I've been there the past couple of years, and they usually have what I want. So I go there for record store day.
Because the Record Store Day does the Black Friday mini Record Store Day as well, so that's coming up. So I'm getting pretty excited about that. I haven't seen any lists yet. They usually, I think, do it like a month out, so we still got a couple
Yeah,
weeks. But
yeah, I'm super excited for that. I do have no idea what they're gonna put on the list. It's you never know. That's what's fun about it too. You never know what's gonna be on the list. I like the surprise of it.
yeah, the anticipation is awesome. And I just, I'm a huge electronica fan and a big hip hop fan as well. So I always get excited, and then like it's always like I still get disappointed every time because as far as like genres are concerned, it's like, did we really need like four more of Grateful Dead concerts released on vinyl for the first time since '74? Like I'm sure, and my anti-Grateful Dead bias is showing here, but like there's a lot of bands that are like they're super popular and people like to buy them and everything, and I get that. So you have to meet the demand by continually re-releasing things and releasing concerts that were never on vinyl before. But it's like, as somebody who wants to see like certain artists or groups who were never ever released on vinyl, um, and then it's like I just scroll through the list and then it's like, oh cool, more David Bowie like special edition releases. Like it just gets a little frustrating for me in that respect. But it's still my favorite day of the year. You
Oh
know.
yeah, I mean, I totally understand where you're coming from. Like whenever I see usually there's like four Grateful Dead records at least on each list every year. I'm like the Dead's good, but I'm not gonna go out of my way to listen to them. So, but I mean, nothing wrong with liking the Grateful Dead. I mean, people like what they like. So, but like it's crazy when they release like the same thing over and over, or like you get like the demos of some album. Like I think this last record store day, they had the demos of Rumors by Fleetwood Mac. They pressed an insanely amount of copies of it, but they sold out like everywhere, and it just baffles me. I'm like, the demos of the album. I mean, yeah, that's cool, but like, I don't. I mean, Fleetwood Mac is good, but I'm not gonna go out and buy the demos to Rumors.
Right. Right, like that you would think that, and I have I have Rage Against the Machine's demos for that first self-titled album. I'm not gonna lie to you, Josh. I think I've maybe heard just a couple of like their 12 original demos because like they're fucking demos. Like I got it
Yeah,
because I love the band, so I want to own it, but like I can't believe that they actually sold out of the Fleetwood Mac Rumors demos because it's like how many people would really be like, champing at the bit to get their hands on that? I guess a lot, but
yeah. I mean, it was pretty wacky. I did not expect that. Like, it was like I went to 4A Song out in Lisle for Record Store Day as well this year, but they actually moved to St. Joseph, Michigan, because of the whole thing. But I went there and I was talking to you. I'm th- like I saw a bunch of people have the Fleetwood Mac Rumors. I'm like, how many did you get? She got like, I think she got like at least 10 copies of it or something like that, and she sold out. I'm like, how? Like Fleetwood Mac, like they're good, but they're the demos. And she's like, people love them. I'm like, because I mean, she was a huge fan of them too, so that's why she got so many
sure,
copies.
sure,
But it was
sure.
just so wacky.
Um, Last question I got for you is there a record that you would want to actually see released as some sort of deluxe or anniversary edition where, much like we were talking about, whether it's demos, whether it's live versions, outtakes, B-sides, is there a record that you own or that you know of that you want to see like given some sort of like expanded deluxe treatment that you would be eager to snap up on vinyl if they did it?
Yes, yes. There's this band called Harvey Danger. They were best
Oh,
known for the song
I
Flagpole Sit
yeah,
Up back in
yeah,
1999, I think it was.
yeah. I believe it was 98, but
98.
you're close enough. Yeah.
Yeah, that first album, Where Have All the Merrymakers Gone, is a masterpiece. I love that record. It was released on vinyl once back in like 2014 or something by I forget the name of the record label. That one, and then they sold out of all the copies. Like when they first released it, and I love that record. Like Flagpole Sitta is such a good song. Carlotta Valdez, the album opener is amazing. Such a good album opener. Woolly Muffler's a good low song, and then it picks up. Private Helicopter, just it's amazing. Jack the Lion, Problems and Bigger Ones, great songs. Old Hat, the whole album is amazing. I love it, and they only released it. It was No Sleep Records that released it. They released it once in 2014. It's like 6,000 copies or something like that, like 2,000 copies for each color. It was on clear, orange, and white, and they never released it again. And I really, really would want a copy of that album, and for like to be deluxe edition with some other cool stuff thrown in, that would just be a dream. It's so good.
Would you care what color it was out of those three? I can't believe you even know the three colors that they were released on.
I have Discogs pulled up right now, but
Uh,
um, probably the orange because the album cover is like an orangey brown color. But
yeah.
yeah, that album, it's so good. It's so underrated. It's people just they just know him for Flagpole Sitta, and it kind of saddens me because they're so much better than that. They are a really really good band.
You know,
And they had two
you know,
other albums after Where Have All the Merrymakers Gone. King James version, which was actually released on the London Sire Records label, and Little by Little, which was released on their own label because they were dropped from Slash Records in London. But they are really good. It's a shame that they had to break up because no one was listening to them, and they just things life got in the way. Um,
yeah.
I know one of the members I think it was, who was it? One of the members died actually a couple of years ago. Yeah. After, I mean, it was
Um,
definitely after the band broke up, but he passed away a couple of years ago.
yes, we're being sad out here. I
What?
was feeling really good and excited. I said we're ending on a sad note. Now that I hear one of Harvey Danger's members is dead now.
I know, I'm sorry, but like it sucks because like they were so good. I was really hoping like maybe like a reunion tour or something, just because they were so good. They needed it just sucks that they weren't as big as I think they could have been, or what the record labels allowed them to be. And that was a big thing back like the 90s and the 2000s up until about I don't know 2010 maybe 2008. Record labels determined how well you did. Now you can just DIY it.
Yeah.
A lot of
Um,
yeah.
yeah. Well, I'll tell you this, Josh. Um, I've owned that CD for the past 20 plus years since it came out. Um, I bought it for Flagpole Sitta, and I promise you, I have never listened to any other track besides Flagpole Sitta, and I feel like a real jerk. So I promise you this, before Bin Chickens 2 on November 10th, I am going to listen to that whole CD front to back, and because you gave it such a glowing recommendation and review, so I'm going to listen to it in its totality, and so I can talk to you about it.
Thank you. It's I'm telling you, it's a great record. I mean, yeah, I mean, you could listen to it when you're like just like in the background when you're driving a car, or just really give it a good listen. Like it's very college rocky, very like REM Midnight Oil type stuff, but like it's it, but like different. It's their own style. It because they were in college when they formed the band. It was very. I mean, they just kind of did it as a side thing, but then they just kind of grew from because they were that good. But then no one knew how good they really were.
Wow.
They're great. I yeah, definitely listen to the record or CD, and I think you'll enjoy it.
Cool. Well, I actually look forward to doing that now. Um, Josh, I want to thank you for taking the time with me on this podcast. It was great to have you on, and I look forward to seeing JDZ Records at Bin Chickens 2 Electric Boogaloo on Sunday, November. So, yeah, any closing thoughts?
Well, I like to thank you for having me on. This is fun. I will be back for Bin Chickens too, Electric Boogaloo. I'm excited for it. I hear the Emporium is a really cool place to do it at. It's like an
Yeah,
arcade, right?
yeah, it's an arcade bar, so it's going to be a blast. They've got awesome arcade machines, obviously, drinks and vinyl. I mean, I don't know how much more. And we're gonna have five DJs there again. Dropping sweet sets of vinyl. So,
Huh?
and some digital too, because DJ now is going the digital route. I'm still going to be dropping vinyl, but I think
Nice.
some of the other ones are going to be doing digital, which is also fine because the music's the most important thing.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, but yeah, it's going to be a great time. So look forward to seeing you there. And everybody who's listening, come on out to Bin Chickens to Electric Boogaloo Sunday, November 10th. You can pick up some great records from JDZ Records, maybe another Limp Bizkit singles hiding in there. I don't know. I'm not going to promise anything. But
All right.
and Josh, have a good night. Thanks again.
Thanks you too.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.